semester, I have this student, let's call him John. He came to me during my consultation hours to see his class standing. So I opened the right Excel file and showed him his grade. We're both surprised because though he passed all his major examinations, his final rating was below the passing grade. Automatically, we opened and we checked his individual scores, and only to find out that his exam scores were merely passing. And here's the catch. He missed almost all of my quizzes. Then I remembered that this guy, John, was the student who comes in my class already halfway of my lecture. And hence, the missed quizzes. So I asked him why. Then he shared to me that my class was his first in the morning. He lives in the downtown area and is always stopped by heavy traffic. I can remember, I just responded, yeah, traffic is really worse here in Davao City. Such response made me realize that being late because of traffic seems to be a valid excuse. It's enough said, it's self-explanatory, right? I'm pretty sure that John's not the only one in that experience. Most of us experience how it is like to be stopped in a traffic. And this time, let's meet another characters that I encountered, that I met during one of my travels. I met Mr. Victor, and yeah, that's me. That's 2 months ago. This photo was taken near Matina Public Market at Matina, Davao City. It took me a while before I talked to him, but anyways, I did. I also asked another stranger to take a photo of us, and Mr. Victor agreed that I will use the photo and the things that we talked to in this presentation. During this time, he is actually just got off from work, so this is around 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and he was waiting for a public transport going to his home in Toril, Davao City. And I also found out that Mr. Victor is a 44-year-old public school teacher. So this is the Google map from Matina Public Market to Toril, where a public transport passes every 3 minutes, and the expected travel time is 47 minutes. And of course, that's our expectation, but expectation versus reality, it's quite different. Mr. Victor shared to me that he waits for more than an hour before he can actually ride a Toril jeep, and his travel time is also on average 1 hour. He also told me that this has been his experience for 18 long years as a public school teacher, and he is thinking for an early retirement because he can no longer stand this kind of situation as he is getting older and he can no longer escape the signs of aging. Yeah. I also met Miss Eliza, so I kind of enjoy talking to random strangers. You should try it sometimes, it's fun. This photo was taken at Bangkerohan Public Market, where Miss Eliza goes weekly to have her groceries. She is a 44-year-old single mother of 7 children. Yes. And this time, she is waiting for a taxi instead of a jeepney, because it's quite hassling to ride for a jeepney going to her home at the Vista Monte, Talomo, Davao City, with all these groceries with her. This is the Google map from Bangkerohan to La Vista Monte, where a public transport passes every minute and the travel time is 47 minutes, while riding a taxi or a privately owned car takes 25 minutes. Again, that's our expectation. Expectation versus reality. Miss Eliza shared to me that she waits for 13 minutes before she can actually ride a taxi, and her travel time is also 30 minutes. And this has been her consistent experience every week. These are few real-life transportation stories that we can all relate with. So why are we experiencing these things? What causes them and how it can be solved? Now let's examine Davao City's public transport system. Davao City is one of the most significant and largest city in the Philippines that has a land area of 2,211 square kilometers and currently has more than 15,000 public transport vehicles operating in the city, which covers 80% of the trips within the city. This large number of public transport vehicles is difficult to regulate and is often the cause of traffic congestion. Moreover, the regulations governing these are outdated. The city lacks an effective transport master plan. The public routes, coverage area, connectivity, and service frequency are poorly planned and fail to provide a satisfactory service. So what is in transport system? How important and crucial it is that we experienced a 2-day national transport strike just a month ago to oppose the PUV modernization plan of the government. Note that transport system is simply a means to move passengers or products from a source to a destination. But transport system supports the accumulation and concentration of economic and social activities in urban areas whose productivity is highly dependent on the efficiency of its transport system. Again, the productivity in urban areas is highly dependent on the efficiency of its transport system. And as population increases and economy rises, the demand for transport also increases, which generates challenges on the efficiency of its transport system. And development is fast catching up in Davao City, whether we can feel it or not. And there is a shared and rising concern in its transport system as its strong economic growth has generated increasing demand for travel, which led to the different transportation issues. These issues are the very familiar traffic congestion. This photo was taken near Center Point at Makina, Davao City. We also experience longer commuting, especially on off-peak hours. Even if it's not off-peak hours, we still experience longer commuting. We have public transport inadequacy. I, for one, experienced this. This is in front of City Davao at Kimpo Boulevard. We have pollution. Private car owners surely experience parking difficulties. We also have overlapping routes in the periphery and poor accessibility in urban areas. And because of this transportation problem, last 2010, the Japan Fund for Poverty Reduction through the Asian Development Bank funded a $1 million for a transportation project entitled Davao Sustainable Urban Transport Project, or the DSCP. This project will enable Davao City to attain a sustainable and effective public transport system and provide a medium-term to long-term strategic transport master plan that will show the issues and priorities of the city. And to carry out this project, a group of national and international consultants conducted a 9-month study, which findings offer 4 transportation options. First transportation option is the bus rapid transit, or the BRT. A BRT system offers a roadway dedicated to buses only and gives priority to buses at intersections. It has multiple doors for fast entry and exit, and it can carry around 150 to 200 passengers. Second option is the light rail transit, or LRT. This is what we have in Manila. It's actually MRT, or the Manila Light Rail Transit, which sometimes crashes in the middle of its race. The third one is the conventional bus service, or the CBS. This is what we have here in the Philippines, or in Davao City. but it is being deployed in long-distance or city-to-city travels. Lastly, we have the high-priority bus service, or the HPBS. However, the BRT and the LRT cannot operate on the existing roads here in Davao City because it requires 25 meters road width, and we only have 15 meters available. Thus, we are left with two medium-term transport options. We have the CBS and the HPBS. And the main difference between them is that the CBS has 60 passenger seating capacity, while the HPBS has 19. So, with these two transport options that we are left with, when, where, and how frequent can they be deployed? Since they have different passenger seating capacity, then they have different performances. Then that is my study is all about, to determine and to compare the projected performances of the CBS and HPBS. So how did I compare them? By using the transport system effectiveness measures. The two most common measures are the load factor and the passenger waiting time. Load factor is a measure of capacity utilization. How much of the transport vehicle's passenger carrying capacity is being utilized. For example, so that's how we do things here in the Philippines. We always utilize things more than what we can offer. But this is not how we compute the load factor. This is the real example. Say we have a transport vehicle who has 5 passenger sitting capacity and 4 are being occupied. So the load factor is 4 over 5, or that's 80%. Thus, the higher the load factor, the more profitable the operation is. The second measure is the passenger waiting time. It is the time elapsed the moment a passenger arrives at a loading station until the passenger was able to ride the transport system or the transport vehicle. And the lower the passenger waiting time, the more effective the transport system is. Note that the CBS and the HPBS are not yet operational. Therefore, the traditional models that are used to compute this effectiveness measures cannot be used. There is then a need to explore other methods, and that is through the queuing theory. Queuing theory is a widely known and used mathematical method that can quantify waiting phenomena. When you wait for a ride, or when you queue in an ATM to withdraw some cash, when you pay your groceries at the cashier, or when you wait for your order in a coffee shop, when you wait a file to be downloaded, or even an email reply, whatever it is that involves waiting, queuing models can quantify that. And the specific model, queuing model that I use is the single server batch service queuing model. But don't worry, let's simply call that as the queuing model. So this is how it works. Let's say we have 2 loading and unloading stations. And the first station, there are 3 passengers waiting for a transport vehicle. Then, a transport vehicle arrives with a 3 passenger carrying capacity. So the 3 waiting passengers were able to ride the transport vehicle, and that makes them happy. Then, the transport vehicle goes to the next station, and it found another 3 passengers waiting at that station. Then, the transport vehicle unloaded 2 passengers. Thus, only 2 of the 3 waiting passengers can able to ride the transport vehicle, and only 2 of them are happy. Then the transport vehicle goes to the next station, leaving a passenger, and this left behind passenger is very sad. The DSUT project that I mentioned earlier, they studied the downtown or the central areas. So what I did is I studied a sub-central area, specifically in Mintal area. So imagine there's a map of Mintal area there, and the methodology of my study can be replicated in other sub-central areas in Davao City, say in Tibungco, in Toril, or in Calinan, etc. So from the map in Mintal area, so from Mintal Public Market, Ulas Crossing, I determined 8 loading and unloading stations there. And from 6:30 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. in the morning, I gathered 2 types of information. First is the number of passengers that arrives at the station and the number of passengers that is being unloaded in the station for every 1 minute for 2 hours. Moreover, I also interviewed 10 random people at each station for their desired waiting time. And some of them rejected me because they might miss a jeepney, but it's fine. Anyways, I gathered all the information I needed, and this is the result. For the load factor, the CBS achieved 100%, while the HPBS has 78%. Remember that the higher the load factor, the more profitable the transportation is. So here the winner is the CBS. For the waiting time, the CBS has 4 minutes, while the HPBS only has 1 minute. Remember, the lower the passenger waiting time, the more effective the transport system is. So the winner here is the HPBS. Actually, the CBS wasn't able to meet all the passenger demands, which led to left behind passengers, the one that is sad a while ago, which led to the increase in the passenger waiting time. This points the HPBS to be a better transport option since the remaining 22% of its load factor will factor in the continuous increasing passenger demand. Overall, Davao City needs a more effective public transport system. And methods are available to project its real-time performances. Why does Miss Eliza have to wait for more than 30 minutes just to wait for a taxi if it can be done in a minute? She might have more time taking care of her children. Why does Mr. Victor have to wait for more than an hour if it can actually done in 1 minute? He might not think of retiring early and continually do what he's being passionate about, and that is teaching. My student, John, and you're still students too, might not have missed any quiz or lesson and might get a higher grade. Again, development is fast catching up in Davao City. Change is most needed because we don't yet have the best. And I say something must be done in our public transport